Shalom, shalom. Most High Christ bless. This is gonna be kind of like a continuation of last time I've done this. Last time was Joab, the captain of the host for King David, going over his pitfalls, his good deeds, his terrible deeds, his judgment, and what afterwards happened to him. Well, this is gonna be similar, but this is gonna be over King of Israel Ahab and King of Israel Jehu, the natural-born killer. Give me that, Romans.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Right, so we got to read what happened with our forefathers to understand what not to do a lot of times in this current life. And with these scriptures, they give us hope. Of course, it gives us also the good examples of who to follow in our forefathers as well. But these two are not the ones that you want to follow. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to do the villains first, and then we're going to do the heroes later. Give me the king of Ahab. You give me 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 29, Alicia. 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 29. Who is Ahab? It's 16:29, I'm sorry.
1 Kings chapter 16 and verse 29.
Thank you.
And in the 38th year of Uzziah, king of Judah, began Ahab, the son of Omri, to reign over Israel. And Ahab, the son of Omri, reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years.
Read.
And Ahab, the son of Omri, did evil in the sight of the Lord, above all that were before him.
So this is the most wicked king up to this point. Read.
And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him, to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took the wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him.
All right, I want you to give me 1 Kings 12. So who is Jeroboam? So he said he walked in all the sins of Jeroboam. That was the first king of the so-called northern kingdom, the nation of Israel. Let's read about the split. Give me that. 12 and 16.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 12 and verse 16.
We gotta go back because it referenced them. We gotta go back to understand what's going on, right? Read that.
So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying,
The king in this context is Rehoboam, the son of Solomon. Read.
What portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Now see to thine own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents.
Read.
But as for the children of Israel, which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them.
So anybody that dwelt in the cities of Judah, just like back then, you had northern kingdom that dwelt in some of the cities of Judah. You had other tribes that dwelt in the cities of Judah. Whoever dwelt in those cities, Rehoboam was the king over them. Drop down to verse 25.
Verse 25. Then Jeroboam built Shittim and Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out of thence he bent Peniel.
Read.
And Jeroboam said in the heart, now shall kingdom return to the house of David.
Why? Because he understood that the northern kingdom would have to return back to Jerusalem during the 3 high holy days that all men were made to come to Jerusalem to serve. He was scared that they would turn back to Rehoboam because they would be there. Read.
If this people go up and do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of the people turn again unto their Lord, even unto Rehoboam king of Judah. And they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam king of Judah.
And this is his paranoia. This is Jeroboam's paranoia. Read.
Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
And Jeroboam took ungodly counsel. That's what this counsel was. It was ungodly counsel. Read.
And he set the one in Bethel, and the other he put in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even until Dan.
Okay, so now we got to fast forward. And this is what Northern Kingdom went to do. Give me that about idolatry. Give me Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, Alicia.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14.
We're going to start at verse 23.
Verse 23.
This is what idolatry does to you and does to the majority or the mass of people while being in it for a while. Read that.
For while they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revelings of strange rites.
So they sacrificed their kids to Baal. That's what you hear about passing through the fire. When they served Baal required you to drop your children in a fire. So this is abortion the other way. Not while he's still in your stomach. While he's born, you drop your kid in a fire to kill him, to sacrifice him to Baal. This is what they were doing in the Northern Kingdom when they were serving these two golden calves. Read.
They kept lives nor marriages any longer undefiled.
Because they also built groves. That's what they would do in groves. They would have orgies and other things inside the groves. Read.
But either my voice keeps going. But either one slew another traitorously or grieved him by adultery.
And if you read the history of the Northern Kingdom, this is how their kings switch hands. The king wouldn't live out his life, per se. A person would kill the king in the Northern Kingdom, and the person who killed the king would become king. And we're going to read an instance of that here in a minute. Read.
So that there reigned in all men without exception blood, manslaughter, theft and dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury, disquieting of good men.
This is all what was going on in the Northern Kingdom during the time of Ahab. That's what we're going to read. Read.
Disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good turns, defiling of souls, changing of kind, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanness.
Read.
For the worshiping idols not to be named is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all sin.
And this of evil, all evil. You said all sin, but all evil. So give me 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 29. So we're going to get into Ahab. So from the time of Jeroboam to now up to the king of Ahab, they did everything we just read in Wisdom of Solomon 14. That's the way they were living. Orgies, groves, adultery, murder, corruption, extortion. Everything was happening in Northern Kingdom to that magnitude. Give me that. 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 29.
1 Kings chapter 16.
I'm gonna let him read. I'm gonna let him read. Go ahead.
1 Kings chapter 16 and verse 29. And in the 38th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Ahab, the son of Omri, to reign over Israel. And Ahab, the son of Omri, reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. And Ahab, the son of Omri, did evil in the sight of the Lord above all that were before him. And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ithbaal, king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him.
So he married a heathen woman. Not only did he marry this heathen woman, read.
And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria.
So he even built a house of Baal in Samaria, which is the capital of Ephraim. Give me that in Sirach chapter 25, verse 19. What is one of this man's traits? What Ahab always listened to his wife. Not saying that's a bad thing, but read this first.
The book of Sirach.
I'm going to read.
All right.
Get your voice. Go
The
ahead.
book of Sirach, chapter 25 and verse 19. All wickedness is but a little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her.
Because she is a heathen. She can't keep the commandments in the first place. Therefore, she wasn't going to do any righteousness anyway. But he listened to her. Give me that in Genesis about 3:17 about Adam. There's nothing wrong with listening to your wife, but if she has righteousness to say, we listen. She had nothing but wickedness to say. She worshiped another god from her birth. And the king of Israel listened to her in everything. Read.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 3 and verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake.
Ahab committed the same sin Adam did. He let a woman turn his eyes into idolatry. That's what Adam's sin was. He let Eve talk him into serving another God. Drop that. Give me Sirach 25:25. If y'all wanted to know what the tree of good and evil was, it was idolatry.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 25 and verse 25.
Come on.
Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad.
So he gave her free reign. She was queen. Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do, Jezebel. I'm going to take advice from you. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to let you do whatever you want to do. Now go back. Go back to 1 Kings. No, actually, give me Sirach 26:23. Give me that one first before we go back.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 26 and verse 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord.
A wicked woman is given to a wicked man. That's how this works. They both work wickedness. Go back to 1 Kings. We're going to read chapter 18. 1 Kings chapter 18. Let's read about Ahab and his wife Jezebel.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 18 and verse 1.
Read.
And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go, show thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon the earth. And Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria.
Why was there a famine in Samaria? Let's get that. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. They were already suffering the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. The northern kingdom was due to their idolatry, doing and breaking all of God's commandments, serving Baal the way they were serving them. And that's why we read Wisdom of Solomon 14, because it lists all of the wickedness that you would do in idolatry, which they were doing. They were breaking God's commands. Read that.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15.
There was a famine in the northern kingdom. This is why. Read.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Northern kingdom was in attendance when Moses read this. All of Northern Kingdom's forefathers was there in attendance when Moses read this. This is why this happened. Read verse 23.
Verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
That is, yes. Read on.
The Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust, and heaven shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed.
And this is the curse that was on the northern kingdom in Samaria at the time. They were in a famine. Nothing would grow. No rain would fall. That's why, go back, 18 and 1. This is why the Lord told Elijah that he was going to let rain fall if Ahab was to listen and hearken to the voice of the Lord. But read that.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 18 and verse 1.
Come on.
And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go show thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon the earth. And Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria. And Ahab called Obadiah, which was the governor of his house. Now Obadiah feared the Lord greatly,
See, look, there's a written record of this man Obadiah that he feared the Lord. He was a righteous man. Read.
For it was so, when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water.
So Jezebel, you see it says his wife cut off. Cut off means killed the prophets. The Lord kept sending prophets to northern kingdom to try to get them out of the idolatry and the sin they were in. But instead of hearkening, his wife, the heathen, Jezebel, killed them. But Obadiah kept 100 from dying. Read on.
And Ahab said unto Obadiah, go into the land, unto all the fountains of water, and unto all brooks. Peradventure we may find grass to save the horses and mules alive, that we lose not all the beasts. So they divided the land between them to pass through out it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another by himself.
Okay, so we're going to drop down to, give me 21. We're going to skip down to 1 Kings 21. So Ahab allowed his wife to kill the prophets of God when they would come and try to save northern kingdom from their famine and from the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Kind of like what our people going to do to us coming. The women are going to allow their sons to kill us for trying to correct them. It's going to happen. Give me 1 Kings chapter 21. Some more about Ahab and his wife. The wickedness they was doing.
Start at verse 1.
Yeah.
This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 21 and verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth and the Jezreelite had a vineyard, which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria.
So this is neighbor. This is neighbor. Read.
And Ahab gave unto Naboth, saying, give me thine vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house. And I will give thee for a better vineyard. Hold on. And I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. And Naboth said unto Ahab, the Lord forbid me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite has spoken to him.
Hold on right there. This man came home heavy. He's sensual. He's soft. This is why Jezebel could reign the way she did, because this man didn't have a backbone. He asked for something. He said, I'd pay for it. But the man said, nah, man, I can't get it. This is my inheritance. Why would I give you my inheritance? So he comes home heavy, sad, upset. Give me that in James chapter 3, verse 14. Let's see what it say about an envious, sensual man.
This is the book of James, chapter 3 and verse 14.
Come on.
Oh, wait. But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth.
Come on.
This wisdom descendeth not from above.
This wisdom of envying and strife does not ascend from above. Read.
But is earthly, sensual, devilish.
Sensual, devilish. Yeah, the devil on him. Read that back. Read the verse again.
Jude 19?
No, 1 Kings.
1 Kings 21.
Yep.
Okay, this is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 21 and verse 4. And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give thee an inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would not eat no bread.
So he would not eat bread because of the fact that somebody told him no. That's what it come down to. It wasn't his. The man said no. It was just right to say no. Give me the synonyms of sensual.
Synonyms of sensual. Carnal.
Carnal.
Fleshly.
Fleshly.
Luscious. Lust. sensuous, voluptuous.
What I wanted out of that is, yeah, so he's carnal. He has no spirituality in him. He's a carnal man. Like, so read on in that in 1 Kings.
Verse 5. But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said unto him, why is thy spirit so sad?
That goes to show you what sensual is. He's sad. He's sensitive. He's in his emotions right now because a man told him no, he can't have his inheritance. Read.
That thou eatest no bread.
So he's so sad he doesn't eat. What man you know how they used to say? You must be in love because you don't eat.
Yeah.
And you be all down. Read.
And he said unto her, because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And
I wish you would read this the way he was sad, because he's sad. So he's telling his wife what happened. You know he's sad. You know a grown ass man. Excuse my French. When a grown man, when he's trying not to cry, he got that weird
I got you.
frog in his voice.
You want me to do it?
And you know what I'm saying? He kind of I hope y'all husbands don't do that. I pray to God, but read that.
Verse
6.
6?
Yeah.
6 again?
Yeah.
And he said unto her, because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, give me thy vineyard for money, or else, and if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard.
He's telling his wife this in this manner. This is how he replied to his wife. Read.
And Jezebel, his wife, said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel?
And just like you sisters be like, ain't you a man? Don't you? Just like if you had a husband, right? And he was an officer of 20. And he say, men don't want to show up to camp. I told them to show up to camp, and they don't show up to camp. Your response, sisters, would be like, ain't your ass an officer of 20? The hell you sitting here crying like this for? That's what she said. Ain't you a king? What the hell you sitting here crying like this for? You know, she was a black woman. She want us, but she was still a black woman. Read.
Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite.
She said, get your ass up and eat. I'm about to go get it for you. Go sit down. Go. Stop crying in the corner and get your ass up and eat. I'm about to go get the vineyard for you. Read.
So she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal and sent the letters unto the elders, to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth.
So she's doing the misleading thing to try to get give me Exodus 20 and 17 real quick. What law right now is getting broken?
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
The point we wanted was, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. The land that the neighbor's house sits on goes with the neighbor's house. He wants it so bad that he allows his wife, he knows his wife is about to do the most wicked-ish to get this fit. She's not about to go knock on the door and ask for it, because that's what he did. He knows she's about to do the most wicked-ish to get this vineyard. And he allowed, okay, go ahead, do it. He always listened to the voice of his wife. No backbone. Read. Weak.
1 Kings?
Yes, 21. Weak-ass man. Read.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 21 and verse 9. And she wrote in the letter, saying, proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people, and set 2 men, sons of
Belial
before
meaning
him.
2 wicked-ass men. Read.
To bear witness against him, saying, thou didst blaspheme God and the king, and then carry him out and stone him that he may die. And the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles who were the inhabitants in his city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them.
Read.
They proclaimed a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. And there came in 2 men, children of Baal.
So when they say set them on high above the people, that basically means they make sure you give the Naboth recognition. Make sure when he come in, y'all salute him.
Yeah,
make him feel good.
Give him some praise.
Yeah. Oh, it's Naboth. Read.
And set before him. And the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Nabal, in the presence of the people, saying, Nabal did blaspheme God and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones that he died. Then they sent Jezebel, saying, Nabal is stoned and is dead.
You see, so they went to her. To hell with the king. They went to her. Read.
And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Nabal was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Nabal, the Jezreelite, for money, for Nabal is not alive, but dead. And it came to pass when Ahab heard that Nabal was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Nabal, the Jezreelite, to take possession of it.
This man is beyond weak. Not, hey, you just had a man killed what the hell are you doing?
He's supposed to be judging her.
Right, you making moves like this? You got 2 men. You commanded 2 men to go kill. So you doing all of this? He just said, "Okay, dear. Yeah, I got the vineyard." Weak as hell. Read.
And the word of the Lord came to Elijah, the Tishbite, saying, Arise and go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Nabal, whither he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus with the Lord, in the place where dogs lick the blood of Nabal, shall dogs lick the blood, even thine. And Ahab said,
That's his judgment. That's his judgment. So since he's not going to pass judgment, the Lord going to pass judgment. When the Lord pass judgment, it's normally death. That's like the default. If you don't get death, it's like torturous, but it's death. Like that's the Lord's judgment 9 times out of 10. Read. It's merciful if it's not death, but it's still something worse.
Yeah, you still get that death.
You still gonna get death, or like he'll give you like hemorrhoids or disease, but the default's death. Read.
And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall.
Anytime you see that phrase, pisseth against the wall, he's talking about men. So when he say, I'm going to cut off whoever pisseth against the wall, he's talking about, I'm going to kill every man in your family. So if he kills off all the men in the family, you have no more genealogy. Your genealogy has been cut off completely. Read.
And him that is shut up in the left in Israel, and will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah, and the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger, and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dog shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city, the dog shall eat. And him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat.
So this is Jezebel's judgment. She's going to die, and the dogs are going to eat her remains. Read.
But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel, his wife, stirred up.
Verse 25, one more time.
1 Kings chapter 21 and verse 25. But there was none like unto Ahab.
Because Ahab was a weak man. It says he's one of the most wickedest kings to this point. Why? Because he doesn't know how to run his household. He doesn't know how to run his kingdom. And he does not know how to control his wife at all. Read.
Which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up.
So she was behind the wickedness. He just carried it out. Read.
And he did very abominably in the following idols, according to all things as did the Amorites, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard those words, that he rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his flesh and fasted and lay his sackcloth and went softly. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Seest thou how Ahab humbled himself before me? Because he humbled himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring evil upon his house.
So he fasted and asked the Lord for forgiveness. He humbled himself in front of the Lord. So the Lord said, you know what? I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to kill his son. He humbled himself. He did. I sent you to warn him. You warned him. He hearkened to the warning. So I'm not going to take him out. I'm going to take his son and his children out.
He still got to pay.
He got to pay. You got to pay the piper. So that leads into the next man, Jehu. Give me 1 Kings chapter 19. We got to read his the prophecy of what he was going to do. Now, why Jehu is a character, well, not a character, a man in the book, the Bible, that's very appealing to me, is because the Lord said that he was going to be raised up to kill. That was his sole purpose. And the way he did it was somewhat comical in some cases. 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 14.
This is the book of 1 Kings chapter 19 and verse 14. And he said, I have been very jealous of the Lord thy God of hosts, because the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away.
This is Elijah talking. We went back a little bit. This is Elijah talking whenever he had to go meet with Ahab, and he was scared to die. This is what Elijah was saying to the Lord. Read.
And the Lord said unto him, Go, return on the way to the wilderness of Damascus, and when thou hast comest, anoint Hazael the king over Syria, and Jehu the son of Nimshi shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel, and Elisha the son of Shaphat and Abel-Meholah
I told you.
shalt thou anoint to be the prophet in thy room. And it shall come to pass that him that escapeth the sword of Hazael shall Jehu slay, and him that escapeth from the sword of Jehu shall Elisha slay. Yet I have...
That's all I wanted. So Elijah's job was to anoint the king of Syria, Jehu to be the king for later time, because at this time Ahab was the king of Israel, and Elisha, the Elisha that we all reverence, to be the prophet in his room after him. Give me 2 Kings chapter 9, verse 1.
This is the book of 2 Kings chapter 9 and verse 1. And Elisha the prophet called one of the children of the prophets and said unto him, Gird up thy loins and take this box of oil in thine hand and go to Ramoth Gilead.
Ramoth Gilead, yep.
Ramoth Gilead. And when thou comest thither, look out there, Jehu the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi, and go in and make him arise up from among his brethren and carry him to an inner chamber. Then take the box of oil and pour it on his head and say, Thus saith the Lord, I have anointed the king of Israel. I have anointed the king over Israel. Then open the door and flee and tarry not. So the young man, even the young man, the prophet, went to Ramoth Gilead.
I told you it was a lot of reading.
And when he came, behold, the captains of the host were sitting. And he said, I have an errand to thee, O captain. And Jehu said, unto which of all us? And he said to thee, O captain.
So Jehu was a captain of the military at this point. So Elisha's coming in, telling him, hey, I need you real quick. Come here real quick. So Jehu said, all right, read.
Verse 6, and he arose and went unto the house, and he poured the oil on his head, and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I have anointed thee king over the people of the Lord, even over Israel. And thou shalt smite the house of Ahab thy master, that I may avenge the blood of my servants, the prophets, and the blood of all the servants of the Lord at the hand of Jezebel. For the whole house of Ahab shall perish.
So Elisha, so this is the thing about, thank God we're out of the Christian church, because this is never, ever read in the Christian church. We're talking about Elisha, a prophet, is giving this man orders to go kill a man's whole entire family. Read.
And I will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel. And I will make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of
Ahijah.
And the dog shall eat Jezebel and the portion of Jezreel, and there shall be none to bury her. And he opened the door and fled.
So after he got told this, he ran out the room with Elisha and took off. Read.
Then Jehu came forth to the servants of the Lord, and one said unto him, Is all well? Wherefore came this mad fellow to thee? And he said unto them, Ye know the man and his communication.
So dude said, was everything okay? He called the militia mad, meaning crazy. He said, what the hell this crazy man talking about? And then Jehu's like, it's communication. I mean, you know how these crazy people get. That's what he said. You know how these crazy people get? Read.
And they said, It is false. Tell us now.
He said, you lying. Tell us. Read.
And he said, Thus and thus spake he to me, saying, Thus saith the Lord, I have anointed thee king over Israel. Then they hasted and took every man his garment and put it under him on top of the stairs and blew with the trumpet, saying, Jehu is king. So Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi, conspired against
Joram. Joram is the king at the time. Joram is the king after Ahab. That's Ahab's son, Joram. Read.
Now Joram had kept Ramoth-Gilead, he and all Israel, because of Hazael, king of Syria. But King Joram was returned to be healed in Jezreel of the wounds which the Syrians had given him when he fought with Hazael, king of Syria.
Remember the thought. It said, whoever Hazael doesn't kill, Jehu would kill. And if Jehu don't kill him, Elisha would kill him. Read.
And Jehu said, If it be your minds, then let none go forth nor escape out of the city to go tell it to Jezreel. So Jehu rode in a chariot and went to Jezreel, for Joram lay there. And Ahaziah
and
Ahaziah, king of Judah, was come down to Joram.
So king of Judah, even though he split, he went to check on Joram, his brother, right? Even though he's wicked. Read.
And there stood a watchman on the tower of Jezreel, and he spied the company of Jehu, and he came and said, I see a company.
A company is a military, by the way.
And Joram said, Take in horsemen and send to meet them, and let him say, Is it peace? So there went one on horseback to meet him, and said, Thus saith the king, Is it peace? And Jehu said, What hast thou to do with peace? Turn thee behind me. And the watchman told, saying, The messenger came to them, but he cometh not again.
So the messenger ran up to him and was like, Is it peace? Jehu said, There ain't no peace. And instead of the messenger going back and telling the king that there ain't no peace, the messenger took off going in a different direction. Read.
Then he sent out a second on horseback, which came to them and said, Thus saith the king, is it peace? And Jehu answered, What hast thou to do with peace? Turn thee behind me. And the watchman told, saying, He came even unto them, and cometh not again.
So that messenger took off too, because he realized that it wasn't peace. Everybody about to die. Read.
And the driving is like the driving of Jehu, the son of Nimshi, for he driveth furiously.
So he's coming straight at him. Read.
And Joram said, Make ready. And his chariot was ready. And Joram, king of Israel, and Ahaziah, king of Judah, went out, each in his chariot. And they went out against Jehu, and met him in the portion of Nabal, the Jezreelite. And it came to pass when Joram saw Jehu, that he said, Is it peace, Jehu? And he went and answered, What peace? So long as the whoredoms of thy mother Jezebel and her witchcrafts are so many. And Joram turned his hands and fled and said, Ahaziah, there is treachery, Ahaziah.
So he's running and yelling to the other king, Oh, no, he's a traitor. He's a traitor. He betrayed me. Read.
And Jehu drew a bow with his full strength and smote Joram between his arms, and the arrow went out at his heart like he sunk down in his chariot.
So he shot an arrow so hard that the whole arrow went through his whole body, through his heart. Killed him dead. All right, that's all I want on that. That's body number one, by the way. Skip down to verse 26.
Verse 26. Surely I have seen yesterday the blood of Nabal, and the blood of his sons, saith the Lord. And I will requite thee in this plat, saith the Lord. Now therefore take and cast him into the plat of ground, according to the word of the Lord. But when Ahaziah, the king of Judah, saw this, he fled by the way of the garden house. And Jehu followed after him and said, Smite him also in the chariot. And they did so at the going up of Gur, which is by Ebleam. And he fled to Megiddo and died there.
Body number two. So both kings, king of Israel and the king of Judah, both was killed by Jehu. He killed them both. Drop down to 10 and 1.
This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 10 and verse 1. And Ahab had 70 sons in Samaria, and Jehu wrote letters and sent to Samaria unto the rulers of Jezreel, to the elders, and to them that brought up Ahab's children, saying, Now as soon as this letter cometh to you, seeing your master's sons are with you, and there are with you chariots and horses, a fenced city also in armor, look even out the best of the meanest of your master's sons, and set him on his father's throne, and fight for your master's house.
Drop down to 10, verse 10.
Verse 10. Know not that there shall fall unto the earth nothing of the word of the Lord, which the Lord spake concerning the house of Ahab. For the Lord hath done that which he spake by his servant Elijah.
Isn't that scary that the Lord took out a man's whole family because he was so wicked, listening to his wife, killing the prophets, and doing other manner of wickedness? He said, I'm kill them all because all of them are unprofitable. Read. That's scary. Read. Verse 11.
Verse 11. So Jehu slew all that remained of the house of Ahab in Jezreel, and all his great men, and his kinfolk, and his priests, until he had left none remaining.
We just read it was over 70 people. So we at 72 people now? Read.
And he arose and departed, and came to Samaria, and as he was at the shearing house in the way. Jehu met with the brethren of Ahaziah, king of Judah, and said, Who are ye? And they answered, We are the brethren of Ahaziah, and we go down to salute the children of the king and the children of the queen. And he said, Take them alive. And they took them alive and slew them at the pit of the shearing house, even 42 men. Neither left he any of them.
So he killed all the brethren of Ahaziah too.
Verse 15. And when he was departed thence, he lighted on Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, coming to meet him. And he saluted him and said to him, Is thine heart right, as my heart is with thy heart? And Jehonadab answered, It is. If it be, give me thine hand. And he gave him his hand, and he took him up to him into the chariot.
So there's another person he met, making sure that they was on the same page. Brought him into the chariot. Verse 16.
Verse 16. And he said, Come with me and see my zeal for the Lord. So they made him ride in a chariot. And when he came to Samaria, he slew all that remained unto Ahab in Samaria, till he had destroyed him, according to the saying of the Lord, which he spake to Elijah. And Jehu gathered all the people together and said unto them, Ahab served Baal a little, but Jehu shall serve him much.
Okay, so he killed all of the kids of Ahab. They're dead. Verse 17, they're all dead. But now we're going into the people who serve Baal in the northern kingdom. He tells the people, Ahab served him a little, but me, I serve him a lot. Ain't nobody served Baal like I serve Baal. Let's see why he said that. Read.
Now therefore, call unto me all the prophets of Baal, all his servants and all his priests. Let none be wanting. For I have great sacrifice to do Baal. For I have a great sacrifice to do to Baal. Whosoever shall be wanting, he shall not live. But Jehu did it in subtlety, to the intent that he might destroy the worshipers of Baal.
So he wants to get all the worshipers of Baal together to kill him. Again, this is his purpose. This is what the Lord put him on earth to do. And he's one of the only kings that actually have this task to kill like in this manner. I mean, David was a war hero, but this man is killing Israelites. And he was prophesied to do so. Are you okay to read?
Yeah.
Start at verse 20.
Verse 20. And Jehu said, Proclaim a solemn assembly for Baal. And they proclaimed it. And Jehu sent through all Israel, and all the worshipers of Baal came, so that there was not a man left that came not. And they came into the house of Baal, and the house of Baal was full from one end to another.
So he packed the house. He said, Yo, we throwing a whole Baal celebration. I want everybody to come. Read.
And he said unto him that was over the vestry, Bring forth vestments for all the worshipers of Baal. And he brought them forth vestments. And Jehu went and Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, into the house of Baal, and said unto the worshipers of Baal, Search and look that there be here with you none of the servants of the Lord, but the worshipers of Baal only.
So, if y'all serve the one true God, y'all serve the Almighty, y'all shouldn't be here. We don't want y'all here, is what he's trying to say. He's putting a, what do you call that? A ruse over their eyes. Read.
And when they went in to offer sacrifices and burnt offerings, Jehu appointed 80 men without, and said, If any of the men whom I have brought into your hands escape, he that letteth him go, his life shall be of the life of him.
So he said, 80 men. 80 men is 80 men. He pulled them outside and said, if any of these people inside this building make it out of this building alive, your life is going to be the price to pay for that. So, read.
And it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of the offering, the burnt offering, that Jehu said to the guard and to the captains, Go in and slay them. Let none come forth. And they smote them with the edge of the sword. And the guard and the captains cast them out, and went into the city of the house of Baal. And they brought forth the images out of the house of Baal and burned them. And they brake down the image of Baal, and brake down the house of Baal, and made it a drought house unto this day. Thus Jehu destroyed Baal out of Israel.
So you would think, he did all of this, he killed all these people, that worshipped another god, you would think, oh, he must be one of the righteous kings of northern kingdom, right? Read the next verse.
Howbeit from the sin of Jehoram, the son of Nebat, Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin, Jehu departed not from after them, to wit the golden calves that they were in Bethel and that were in Dan.
So no, he didn't depart from it because that's what he knew. That's all he knew, right? Read.
And the Lord said unto Jehu, because thou hast done well in executing that which is right in mine eyes, and hast done unto the house of Ahab according to all that was in mine heart.
No, but God is love. Wait a minute. God is love. Read that verse again.
Verse 30. And the Lord said unto Jehu.
The Lord said to Jehu.
Because thou hast done well in executing that which is right in mine eyes.
So we read, Jehu has at least 130 bodies. At least 130 bodies. And it said, the Lord said what?
Because thou hast done well in executing that which is right in mine eyes.
Oh, okay.
And hast done unto the house of Ahab according to all that was in my heart.
Oh, okay. So this is what the Lord wanted.
Thy children of the fourth generation shall sit on the throne of Israel.
So he rewarded him for that. But this is the God that Christianity say exists. God wouldn't do this. We're reading right here that God would do this. This is his punishment. This was a man's punishment. Read.
But Jehu took no heed to the walk in the law of the Lord, God of Israel, with all his heart.
He didn't take no heed, though. Even after all of this, what God told him would happen, he said, I still don't want to keep the commandments of God. And that's going to be a lot of our people. Yeah, we'll hear about the truth. Yeah, we'll acknowledge we Israel, but we ain't going to walk in the laws of God.
No, that's too much. We got to be stiff-necked.
Yeah. No, oh, you want me to kill? Oh, I'll kill.
I can do that.
I'll do that all day long. But you want me to walk in the laws? Nah.
Keep the Sabbath?
Nah, I'm not doing it.
Keep the high holy days?
Nah, we was good when you told me to kill. Now I'm cool. So give me that in Deuteronomy 10 and 16. This was Jehu's hang-up. He was stiff-necked. He was hard-headed. He did not want to do the laws of God. This ultimately was his downfall.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10 and verse 16. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart and be no more stiff-necked.
Read that again.
Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 16. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart and be no more stiff-necked.
Read.
For the Lord your God is the God of gods and the Lord of lords, a great God, a mighty and terrible, which regardeth not persons, nor taketh reward.
Him knowing this, he had Elisha come and deliver the message personally. He could not circumcise his heart to say, you know what? I'm going to do this, but I'm going to also do this, this, and that. And there'd be a lot of us, too. There'd be some laws, we'd be like, pork, no problem. Sabbath, I'm here, on time. Fringes, every garment. Beard, no problem. The beardest of the beard. But I can't stop watching porn. I can't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it.
Ain't gonna do it.
I can't stop smoking weed. I ain't giving that up. Oh, I can do everything you just said. I can't do that.
Not that.
I can't do that. Stop disrespecting my husband. I love calling him a bitch ass nigga. I can't stop. I won't stop. Not gonna stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Twerk videos, I love watching them. and this was Jehu's problem in a sense. And that's our problem now. We see some laws, okay, I'll do it zealously. I'll do it no problem. I'll do it with all the force I got. But these other ones, I ain't about to do that. I'm not doing it. And therefore, you end unrighteously. You do not get the kingdom of heaven for that. You got to do them all. That's the point. We show you a person that did what his calling was, but he couldn't do the other part. Your calling might be the kitchen. Your calling might be a hospitality camp. But you got to do the rest of it. You have to. Because if you don't, oh my God, Abel can teach so great. But his wife beats him upside his head and he don't correct her at all. Do you get the kingdom for that? Elson, man, this brother is on fire. He's always punctual. Anything you tell this brother, he'll do it, bar none. But he won't leave that computer alone. You know what I'm saying? We got to do it all. Read that last part of that precept about Jehu. The Lord said, great job. You did everything I told you to do. He said, but I'm not going to keep these commandments, though. What? That be our brothers and sisters, some of us.
Was it 2 Kings 10?
It's 2 Kings, yeah. 2 Kings chapter, the end of chapter 10.
Just asking a little too much.
Okay, look. I done killed 200 and something people. Ain't that enough?
That ain't good.
That ain't enough. That ain't enough. Verse 30.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 10 and verse 30.
30 and 31.
And the Lord said unto Jehu, because thou hast done well in executing that which is right in mine eyes, and hast done unto the house of Ahab according to all that was in mine heart, thy children of the fourth generation shall sit on the throne of Israel.
So he's being rewarded for his good work, his purpose. He did what he was put on earth to do. But, read.
Jehu took no heed to the walk in the law of the Lord God of Israel with all his heart, for he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, which made Israel to sin.
So even in this truth, when we come in this truth, we come in this truth zealously. We still have things we need to work on. Instead of working on them, some of us say, you know what? I'll do all of this, but I can't stop doing this, or I won't do that, right? Give me Matthew chapter 7. Let's see where that road leads you. You come in this truth, you zealous, you do what you're supposed to do in front of everybody. You know, everybody's like, oh man, this person's so great. Oh my God, they on fire. You see the zeal on them, that it's nothing they won't do. All praise to the Most High. Read 7:21. 21.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 7 and verse 21. Not every one that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven.
But he fulfilled his purpose. Read.
But he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven.
That's the stipulation. Read.
Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name?
You doing the work. You doing what God told you to do. Is it every man that has breath supposed to go out and teach the word, teach that we the Israelites, teach to keep the commandments? Some of us are going to do that. Read.
And in thy name have cast out many devils.
Oh, man. Brought out the truth. Oh, cleaning up people at camp. Read.
And in thy name does many wonderful works.
Made a crackhead throw his crack pipe away. Read.
And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity.
Okay. Go back to 2 Kings chapter 10 and read that again. Because that was his hang up. And his example is in the Bible for a reason, because he did what the Lord told him to do, bar none. None of us in here going to say, hey, if a prophet came right now and said, hey, I want you to go kill every last one of him. Like, kill him, his wife, and all his kids. You'd be like, nah, I ain't about to do that. He did it. But this was his problem. Read.
It's the book of 2 Kings, chapter 10 and verse 31. But Jehu took no heed to walk in the law of the Lord God of Israel with all his heart. For he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, which made Israel to sin.
He never departed from the sins he grew up in. And that's the fight we got to fight. We have to depart from the sins that we grew up in. Yeah, we in this truth. Yeah, we doing the work. Yeah, we volunteering. Yeah, we doing all of this, but we got to make sure our life is clean. Because if it ain't, it's all for naught. We going to hear, ye never knew us, you workers of iniquity. And this is the reason why I use these men as an example. A man that just didn't want to do the work of the Lord, and one that did but just would not just refused to do what it takes to fix his life. And that's all I got, y'all. Shalom.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today.